It is the place where students can cultivate their desire to be the best version of themselves.
It has enabled me to meet fellow graduates all around the world.
The university taught me that dreams are achievable.
I was a mature student and it gave me confidence.
It's a fantastic place with great energy, both from the internal community and external community.
As a student, DCU helped me figure out who I wanted to be. And now, as a lecturer, I get to try and do the same for my students.
DCU has been my home for the past 5 years, and I've learned that DCU always puts the student first.
The DCU Access Service has given me an opportunity for a brighter future.
DCU gave me the international exposure I was looking for. Since the international standards are so high, DCU pushes me to be at the best of my game always.
DCU has brought a new dimension into my life in the form of new friends.
Tá an clubban agus suki an seo i DCU agus tám I má den a lán suki freisin, agus mar sin rinne mé a lán chairde nua an seo i DCU.
The university has given me the opportunity to broadcast my voice.
I'm always struck by the shared values of the DCU community and the way in which students, staff and alumni are focused on transforming lives and societies.
The most transformative experience for me in DCU has been working with asylum seekers for the MELI project and working towards cultural assimilation.
The university allowed me to combine both my sporting and academic careers, allowing me to perform on the world-class stage, winning a European Championship medal, multiple World Championship medals and multiple World Cup medals.
It has provided me with many learning opportunities to learn from athletes from all over the world.
It gives me the opportunity to excel academically and on track.
The impact DCU had on me personally has been profound. The MBA allowed me to harness the learnings I had from the sports field into a different environment. I feel I can make a real difference in my role with DCU Educational Trust by assisting DCU transforming lives and society.
In the library, students grow in confidence.
With perseverance and the right attitude, people can do anything.
DCU is about making a difference.
Everybody knows DCU as a university that makes a difference to the world around us. Our students have their lives transformed by their experience here, especially through their employability, and Access students are the best example of that. But we've also transformed this region through our dramatically increased footprint, through our contribution to jobs, arts and culture in the region. DCU, the university that makes a difference.
Welcome everybody to the annual President's Research and Impact Awards, where this year we come together as a virtual community to both recognise and celebrate the significant research and impact achievements of our colleagues from right across the university. I'd like to congratulate all of the awardees for their outstanding research work in a diverse range of academic disciplines. And while we've had to compress the event to accommodate both the number of awardees this year and the online delivery format, the concise contributions you're about to hear really do reflect the breadth of excellence in scholarship from our research community. This year, the President's Research Awards, we have recipients from the School of Chemical Sciences, Professor Fiona Regan, Director of the Water Institute, in the Science, Engineering and Computing category. And unusually, we have two awardees in the Humanities, Business and Education category, as it was essentially impossible not to recognise the distinctly different research achievements of Professor Sharon O'Brien, Professor of Translation Studies in the School of Applied Languages and Intercultural Studies in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, and Professor Jimmy Kelly, Head of School of History and Geography in the same faculty. In the Early Career Researcher category, we have an outstanding recipient in Dr. Garrick Allen from the School of Theology, Philosophy and Music, and also from the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. So as we have a very packed schedule, I'd like to call on the President to begin with his opening remarks, and then Brian will introduce the awardees in sequence by reading the citations prepared by the nominators of the awardees, summarising their research achievements, and these are then followed by individual addresses from each of the recipients. Thank you.
Díagíomh agus fáilte roimh. Hello and welcome to this year's President's Awards for Research and for Impact. This is always a big day in the university calendar, and this year we are hosting a virtual ceremony for reasons that you understand, but I hope that you can still enjoy it just as much remotely. Since its establishment 40 years ago, impactful research has been at the very heart of what DCU does and indeed stands for. One of the core elements of DCU's vision is to be, and I quote, a globally significant university that is renowned for its discovery and translation of knowledge to advance society. Recent months have demonstrated the vital role and the societal impact of DCU research and our researchers. A prime example is our new COVID-19 Research and Innovation Hub. I'm pleased to say that we have been able to fund 15 really impressive projects from all 5 of our faculties, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the outcomes of these over the coming months. Aside from the challenges that we've been facing recently, the past year has been a really positive one for research at DCU, and I'll give you just some examples. DCU is coordinating a €3.9 million European training network entitled Markets, and this is exploring markets in a number of post-Soviet states. We're also leading on the Nature ETN, and this is nucleic acids for future gene editing, immunotherapy, and epigenetic sequence modification. And DCU is also partnering on a €15 million Horizon 2020 Open Innovation Testbed project. This is titled New Skin, Innovation Ecosystem to Accelerate the Industrial Uptake of Advanced Surface Nanotechnologies. And it involves 35 research and SME partners from right across the EU. And at national level, there were many examples of successes too. Let me give you some of those. SFI Frontiers for the Future Awards were granted to Professor Tia Keyes, Dr. Mary Price, Professor John Costello, and Dr. Jennifer Foster. 9 projects led by DCU academics were funded under the IRC's, the Irish Research Council's new foundation scheme. And Professor Noel O'Connor was appointed as the new CEO to lead the SFI Insight Centre for Data Analytics into their next phase of research, following a government investment of €49 million. This year also saw the release of DCU's first impact report titled Making a Difference. So for the first time in one publication and using the UN SDGs as a framework, the report captured the scope of real-world impacts that DCU researchers are having in diverse fields. Impacts such as improving childhood health and fitness, guiding national and European police reform, influencing national climate change policy, and many, many more. DCU research is having an impact, and this means that you really are making a difference. And for that, I want to say a heartfelt thank you and congratulations. And finally, I'm pleased to let you know that this year the recipients of these awards will each receive this. This is the inaugural President's Award Medal for Research and for Impact. And this new medal has been introduced as part of our 40th anniversary celebrations for DCU. For all our awardees, congratulations, and I look forward to hearing from them shortly about their amazing work. And now it is my pleasure to read the citations for the 2020 recipients of the President's Awards for Research. We go first to the President's Research Award for Early Career Research Staff, which this year is being awarded to Dr. Garrick Allen. Congratulations, Garrick. Garrick's citation is as follows. Based in the School of Theology, Philosophy and Music, Dr. Garrick Allen is a specialist in the writings of the New Testament, with a focus on the historical reception and the use of these texts. Since his arrival at DCU in 2016, Garrick's research contribution has been outstanding. He has published monographs with both Cambridge University Press and Oxford University Press. He has edited 7 collected volumes, authored 12 high-impact journal articles, and contributed numerous essays to collected volumes. In addition, during this same period, Garrick has had tremendous success in securing funding for cutting-edge research projects. Along with awards from the Irish Research Council and the Royal Irish Academy, he has recently been awarded an ERC, a European Research Council grant worth €1.5 million. And this is exploring titles in the New Testament manuscripts. He's also received a significant grant from the Templeton Religion Trust to collaborate with the Chester Beatty Library here in Dublin in a project which explores the library's manuscripts. Taken together, Dr. Allen has developed an exceptional research profile that can be seen in publications, awards and grants. In these and other ways, he's made a significant contribution to DCU, the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, and his school, the School of Theology, Philosophy and Music. Congratulations, Garrick.
Hello, everybody. I first just want to start and say thank you. I'm very grateful and honored to have the opportunity to receive this award. I'm very thankful for the President's Office for putting this on and for the research culture at DCU that has deeply impacted what I do. My main project I'm working on at the moment explores a feature of Greek New Testament manuscripts, the title. Surprisingly, in the over 5,000 manuscripts of the Greek New Testament, there are 7 or 8 different forms of the title, and the wording of those titles changes in a significant way and gives us information on the way that ancient and medieval people perceive this corpus and these works. So the goal of my main project at the moment is to digitally edit every form of every title and every Greek New Testament manuscript and use this new data to answer important questions about scribes, the people who read these traditions, changes to media and book technology, and a range of other issues. This research would not be possible were I not at DCU, and for the special support and entrepreneurial spirit that the university has. I want to thank my colleagues in the School of Theology, Philosophy, and Music, particularly my head of school, Brad Anderson, and our research coordinator, Patricia Flynn. Also at the faculty level, the Dean, John Doyle, our research coordinator, Eugene McNulty, have been huge helps in this process. And I also want to take time to especially thank the Research and Innovation Office, and especially Jane Kerrigan and her colleagues for working so closely with me on setting up this project and seeking funding for it. So I'm very grateful for all my friends and colleagues at DCU and to everyone who continues to do really interesting, impactful research at the university.
Next, I'm delighted to announce that the President's Research Award in Natural Sciences, Health, Engineering and related areas goes to Professor Fiona Regan. Congratulations, Fiona. Fiona's citation reads as follows. Professor Fiona Regan is an inspiring leader and a role model in research leadership. She has made extensive outstanding contributions to DCU, to Irish society, and also in the broader international context through her impactful research outputs and her academic and indeed pedagogical excellence. Fiona has driven the environmental and water research agenda at DCU over the past 10 years with enormous enthusiasm and energy. She has regularly stepped up to the plate in leading initiatives of global reach, including the establishment of the Water Institute that has established DCU's reputation in this area of critical social and economic importance, while at the same time benefiting her colleagues and students working in these fields. Fiona has led and indeed continues to lead excellent multidisciplinary scientific research in analytical and marine sciences, focusing on solutions to issues of far-reaching economic, environmental and societal benefit. This includes groundbreaking and impactful work into bio-inspired materials for biofilm prevention in the water environment, for which she has achieved and received international recognition. Fiona is an outstanding science communicator, and she has used her skills to build bridges across disciplines in academia and industry. Through student mentoring, she is developing the next generation of environmental scientists and has been a figure at the forefront of raising awareness of environmental science to the broader public. Congratulations, Fiona.
Thank you for giving me this award. I'm delighted to have been nominated and selected. I've been on the staff of DCU since 2002, and before that I did my PhD in analytical chemistry. I then did a postdoctoral research with Professor Bree McCrath in optical sensors, and that taught me the importance of collaborating in research. I'm interested in translating basic science in terms of materials and chemistry to applied systems such as sensors and coatings. Our nanomaterials are inspired by nature to develop coatings for applications in marine biofouling or for self-cleaning coatings for optical systems. Recently, we adapted the amazing structure of the brill fish for application in ocean energy devices to protect against biofouling. Much of my work has been driven by environmental challenges such as water quality. With 42 chemicals produced every hour, I'm interested in the chemical cocktail in our waters and the risk that that poses to human and ecosystem health. Working with computer scientists in DCU, my team has been able to lead the way in the development of decision support systems for water management by integrating chemical sensing with data analytics. We have developed a bathing water sensor, which we call ColiSense, that can provide sample to answer in 75 minutes, compared with the usual 24 to 48 hours to result. And this has attracted a lot of interest, and we hope to commercialise it. I consider myself really lucky to work with colleagues in a range of disciplines. This helps to add value to the research and increase its potential for impact. For example, in the DCU Water Institute, we have a research vision to deliver clean water for all. I appreciate the fact that our university allows academics the freedom to pursue research that can transform lives. Finally, I must thank all the hard-working postgraduate and postdoctoral researchers who make my work here so rewarding. Thanks a lot.
Now to the President's Research Award in Humanities and Social Sciences, Business, Education and related areas. There are 2 awardees in this category this year with quite different profiles, but both share one thing: they are exceptional. The awardees are Professor Sharon O'Brien and Professor James Kelly. The citation for Professor Sharon O'Brien reads as follows. Professor Sharon O'Brien is renowned internationally for her pioneering research in 2 broad areas of translation studies. She has made serious and lasting theoretical and methodological contributions to the field of translation technology, where she popularized the notion of translation as a form of human-computer interaction, and indeed introduced eye tracking as a method for evaluating machine translation quality, to name just 2 of her innovations. More recently, she has blazed a trail in the area of translation in crises. For the last 3 years, she has led a Horizon 2020 funded network known as Interact. This groundbreaking initiative brought together academic, industry and NGO partners to raise awareness of the need for translation and interpreting in crisis communication, and to create resources that will help improve outcomes for those who experience disasters. The policy guidelines and training materials produced by the network have already been promulgated by the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction and has been road tested by immigrant communities in earthquake-prone regions. They have also found direct application in the international response to the COVID-19 pandemic. At the same time, Professor O'Brien has maintained a formidable publications profile, an outstanding track record in the supervision and mentorship of new researchers, along with an ability to remain at the forefront of innovation in translation studies. Many congratulations, Sharon.
Díomh Accorda. Recently, I turned to investigating the role of translation and interpreting in crisis and disaster settings, a field my collaborators and I have come to call crisis translation. More than ever before, the world appreciates the importance of timely and accurate and clear communication in a crisis. However, the need to have that information in multiple languages for our linguistically and culturally diverse communities has been very seriously overlooked. Together with my colleagues across different disciplines, we have built an international network in crisis translation that positions translation as an essential risk reduction, response and recovery tool in crisis settings. We've raised awareness about this globally. We've influenced NGO policy and governmental policy. We've provided training for volunteers and for our students to act as crisis translators. And we've contributed to the technological developments as well as the ethical debates within the domain. With that brief summary, I'm absolutely delighted to accept the President's Research Award for 2020. Gurv Mia Mahagif.
The citation for Professor James Kelly reads as follows. In 30 years of research activity, Professor James Kelly of the DCU School of History and Geography has established himself as one of the preeminent historians of modern Ireland and the preeminent historian of the period that he calls late early modern Ireland. Few historians working today in the Irish university system or beyond have done more to excavate the history of 18th and early 19th century Ireland. No one has surveyed it with such breadth and simultaneously mined it with such intensity. James Kelly has illuminated many of the overlapping political and social changes that characterised Ireland in that era, and his work has shaped the historiography of Ireland. His work has also been taken up by historians across the globe and has opened up new fields of social history, from duelling to infanticide. A prolific author, he has written 12 monographs, more than 50 peer-reviewed journal papers, 70 book chapters, and he's edited 17 volumes of edited collections. A member of the prestigious Royal Irish Academy, he has served the history of Ireland through his presidency of the Irish Historical Society, the 18th Century Ireland Society, and currently the Economic and Social History Society, and his stewardship of scholarly journals and collections. Many congratulations, Jimmy.
I would like to thank the university enormously for this recognition. It's much appreciated. I began many years ago really as a political historian, focusing very much on the nature of politics as it applied and operated in 18th and early 19th century Ireland. It was quite satisfying. I wrote a lot on it, produced some work which I hope added to our understanding not only of the operation of Grathan's Parliament, but particularly of the role and contribution of particular individuals in that story. But at the same time, I was fully conscious of the fact that in order to get a wider view of society, I had to broaden my area of inquiry. And I began by looking at the history of dueling, and ever since I have pursued really a whole host of areas of inquiry that have not only brought me into areas new, but I hope have pushed the boundaries and frontiers of Irish history. I would single out in that respect issues of gender relations, which saw me looking at issues like the abduction of women of fortune, of sexual violence, of infanticide, associational culture, which was a means of building up perspective on social life in the 18th century. Language, really quite a broad range of subjects. I'm now currently pursuing the whole interaction of climate and crisis in 18th and early 19th century Ireland. This resulted in a book some years ago on food protest, and more recently it has seen me looking more specifically at the impact of wider climatic phenomena on Irish history. It's really quite satisfying area of work. I would hope that they produce something useful in that context over the next year or two, and because it's really fundamentally part and parcel of my conviction that if history is to strike a chord with people, it also has to interact with events that they are living with themselves. Thank you very much.
So now to the Research Impact Awards 2020. So we know from national and international trends, there is an increasing emphasis on both capturing and better communicating the impact of the research we undertake, as this feeds into an improved external understanding of the importance of what we do with all our stakeholders, be they funding agencies, governments, or indeed wider society. This year's awards reflect the impact of our research beyond academia in a range of health, well-being, and education domains. This is very much aligned with DCU's core mission to transform lives and societies by the translation of research activities into addressing societal challenges. For this year, the selection process has led to multiple awards in the Faculty of Science and Health. Dr. Sarah Jane Belton, Head of School of Health and Human Performance, for her work entitled Transforming the Health of Our Nation's Youth by Transforming the National Approach to Physical Education. Professor John Crown and the DCU Cancer Research Group for their research work in leading to the initiation of the Caroline 1 Phase 1 clinical trial in women with advanced breast cancer. And Dr. Mary Rose Sweeney, Head of School of Nursing, Psychotherapy and Community Health, for her work on the translation of the Autism-Friendly University beyond DCU. And two recipients from the Institute of Education, Dr. Martin Brown from the School of Policy and Practice and the Centre for Evaluation, Quality and Inspection for his work entitled The Impact of the DCU Shaped Professional Networks Initiative to Enhance the Life Chances of Children and the Social Cohesion of Education Communities in Northern Ireland. And Professor Matthias Urban, Director of the Early Childhood Research Centre, for the impact of his work on competent systems for early childhood education and care. The President will now read the citations related to these 5 recipients, followed by brief addresses from the awardees.
We turn now to the President's Awards for Research Impact. And it gives me great pleasure to announce our first recipient is Dr. Sarah Jane Belton. And the citation for Sarah Jane reads as follows. Dr. Sarah Jane Belton has undertaken research of the highest standard to examine the role of physical activity and physical education in the health of Irish school children. This research has been published not only in the highest impact journals, but also those specifically used by practitioners. And this has had the effect of raising scientific understanding, leading international research trends, and changing practitioners' understanding to create impactful changes on children's lives on a day-to-day basis. This research has also led to increased uptake of physical activity both within and outside of schools, and improves the health status of all our children. This was achieved through the development of national programmes and initiatives including the YPath project with a number of key national agencies and stakeholders, as well as the publishing of Ireland's first 2 textbooks for teaching PE. The YPath programme has already been implemented in just over 42% of secondary schools, and that's over 150,000 young people in Ireland. This is a fantastic achievement. Congratulations, Sarah Jane.
Hi everyone, it's an absolute pleasure and privilege to put this short video together. I'm in equal measure humbled and delighted to have been nominated and to accept this award. The research work for which I've been nominated doesn't represent a single study, rather a suite of research that I've been developing over the past 10 years in close collaboration with a range of colleagues in health and human performance and beyond. The area I've always sought to investigate and make impact is the area of physical education. The words crisis and epidemic have been frequently used to describe the low levels of movement and rising levels of obesity and other chronic health conditions we're increasingly being faced with. PE in schools represents in many ways a critical window of opportunity to really affect wide-scale change in the health, abilities and awareness of children relating to physical activity and movement. Up until 10 years ago, when we started our research in this area, however, there was very little hard, tangible evidence as to the needs of Irish children with respect to PE and movement, or what actually works and doesn't work in schools. The research programme we have conducted spans early years, primary schools and post-primary schools. With the YPath programme, we now have a physical literacy intervention in place in over 250 schools nationally, reaching over 150,000 children with an estimated 90,000 children impacted yearly. Through this research and other national surveillance studies, significant national data has been collected, and we've been able to translate each and every project into meaningful change and impact in schools, with this impact evidenced across a range of research trials. I've also been lucky enough to bring the research to life in everyday practice in the classroom by producing with a team of PE teachers 2 PE textbooks for Irish post-primary schools, both of which are the most widely used in the country. I'd like to thank my colleague who nominated me for this award and the President and University for doing me the honour of acknowledging the impact of this work.
Our second recipient today is Professor Matthias Urban. And the citation from Matthias reads as follows. Professor Matthias Urban's work has global impact, as evidenced by his lead authorship of the G20, T20 Early Childhood Development, Education and Care Policy Briefs in 2018 in Argentina, in 2019 in Japan, and most recently in 2020 in Saudi Arabia. Among the strengths of his work is his ability to lead international collaborative research teams, which in turn advances the international profile of the Early Childhood Research Centre, which he leads at DCU's Institute of Education. For example, Professor Urban's seminal work on the European Core Project, that stands for Competence Requirements in Early Childhood Education and Care. This has had global impact. Countries including Colombia, Brazil and Ireland seek his advice on providing competent early childhood education and care systems. A characteristic of Professor Urban's work is his ability to articulate the complexity and uncertainty of our times in relation to the marginalisation, hyperdiversity, inequality and fragmentation of our societies. Professor Urban advances the concept of providing democratic, participatory models, which include parents, children and the wider community, and more generally society, unfolding within a competent early childhood system grounded in his research. His work will continue to impact positively on the lives of children and families, especially those at risk of educational inequality where children are most vulnerable. Many congratulations, Matthias.
I'm delighted and honoured to receive the President's Research Impact Award. It's not often that early childhood research is recognised for its impact. And I want to commend DCU for providing an environment that enables us to focus on critical scholarship in our field and to bring it to national and global stages. By creating the Desmond Chair of Early Childhood Education and the Early Childhood Research Centre, DCU got ahead of the curve by investing into something that many countries are learning the hard way in times of global crisis. That early childhood education and care is part of our society's core infrastructure. It is an essential public service. In times of crisis and disruption, it becomes critical. Services in many countries have been closed. Marginalised children are particularly exposed in terms of nutrition, learning experiences and safe spaces outside the home. Families are left without childcare and cannot go back to work. At societal level, the collapse of early childhood systems that rely on unsustainable private for-profit models has critically affected countries' ability to respond to the crisis and emerge from it. Systemic reform is important and is increasingly recognised by policymakers and international organisations. G20 has published a statement on promoting social cohesion during pandemics that we have co-authored. It names 3 critical pillars: health, social safety nets, and early childhood development, education and care, emphasising early childhood as public service for the common good. In Ireland, the COVID crisis has put a spotlight on the dysfunctional state of the early childhood system. Despite some significant progress, much work remains to be done here. Finally, no one creates change on their own. The award is a recognition of all the hard work of the members of the Early Childhood Research Centre team and our global collaborators. Thank you sincerely for the award. I look forward to the future and to continuing this important work.
Our third recipient today is Dr. Mary Rose Sweeney. The citation from Mary Rose reads as follows. Dr. Mary Rose Sweeney's research has contributed greatly beyond academia to provide greater understanding of neurodiversity for employers. Her research and contribution on the toolkit for neurodiversity in the workplace is aimed at providing a greater awareness on neuro-inclusive hiring practices, removing the barriers to success for neurodiverse candidates. Increasingly, employers are recognising neurodiversity as an asset and not a deficiency. Dr. Sweeney's research will most certainly contribute to combating the stigma around neurodiversity in the workplace, encouraging employers to create inclusive working environments where neurodiverse individuals can thrive. Her outstanding contribution in this area is now being used as a cornerstone to develop neurodiversity practices in global organisations and the healthcare sector. Led by Dr. Sweeney, this important work with industry partners will continue into 2021 and beyond. Many congratulations, Mary Rose.
Hi everyone, thanks very much for the award. I am absolutely delighted to accept it. This project started with the Autism Friendly University project, a project to improve the lives of students with autism at DCU. It has since transitioned to many other HEIs nationally and internationally, and shortly after we launched this project we were contacted by Cork University Hospital, who recognised the very challenging environment that a hospital setting is for people with autism, and they have been working to adopt the principles of our project into their setting, and they are working away on this. We also have informed a hiring manager's toolkit for Indeed, and are in the process of working with a major technology company to help them adopt the principles of this project into their setting. So we are absolutely thrilled about all of this translation. The project has spread into settings and spaces and sectors that were never the original intention, and I think that's a real measure of translation. And I'm not even involved in a lot of those initiatives. So I think if the originator of the project doesn't need to be involved anymore, that's a real strong measure of research impact and translation. So I really want to thank Greg and Brian for this honour, and thank Sandra from the Office of for the Centre of Excellence of Diversity and Inclusion at DCU for the nomination. So thank you all very much. I'm delighted.
Our fourth recipient today is Professor John Crown, and his citation reads as follows. Professor John Crown is the Thomas Baldwin Chair of Translation Medicine at DCU, and he is a recognised pioneer in translational breast cancer research. He is a consultant medical oncologist at St Vincent's University Hospital, where he established the Clinical Trials Unit, which has developed an international leadership role in oncology trials. Under his leadership, the Molecular Therapeutics for Cancer Research Programme at DCU's NICB, that's the National Institute for Cellular Biotechnology, has been investigating response and resistance to cancer treatments and developing improved treatment strategies for cancer patients. The impact of this work is exemplified by the development of a new drug combination to treat women with metastatic HER2-positive breast cancer that has now entered clinical development in a recently opened phase 1 clinical trial named Caroline 1. This research is based on prior preclinical studies from the Cancer Clinical Research Trust team based at the NICB. CCRT researchers had previously demonstrated the benefit of combining neratinib, an irreversible pan-HER kinase inhibitor, with standard HER2 antibody therapies, trastuzumab and pertuzumab, in laboratory models. This work has been carried out in collaboration with Puma Biotechnology Inc., a US-based biopharmaceutical company. Ireland is the first country to assess the new drug combination in women with metastatic HER2-positive breast cancer. The aim of the investigation is to improve on the response currently achieved with standard treatments. It is hoped that this trial will improve the treatment options available to women with metastatic HER2-positive breast cancer. Many congratulations, John. Go Gorgeous.
On behalf of my colleagues at the National Institute for Cellular Biotechnology at Dublin City University, we would like to express our great gratitude to Professor Brian McGrath and to the University for this wonderful Presidential Impact Award. Táimid an bhuíoch don Olav McGrath agus Ulscoil Cahar Baio Clia Oscradum an Uachtarán seo. I'd like to thank my research colleagues, Dr. Alex Eustace, Dennis Collins, Naomi Walsh, Norma O'Donovan, Neil Conlon, Nicola Gaynor, and Laura Ivers, who've all contributed very, very meaningfully to the conduct of the laboratory research, which we have translated into a clinical trial called the Caroline 1 study. This research is focused on developing better treatments for the subset of breast cancer patients who have the most aggressive variant of the disease, that which has what we call a HER2 alteration. The research from the lab to the clinic is wholly homegrown. We translated laboratory observations in NICB into an Irish clinical trial, which has already recruited its first patients. The research has been supported by the Caroline Foundation, the Cancer Clinical Research Trust, and by the Breast Predict Collaborative Breast Cancer Investigation. Caroline trial is named after a wonderful young lady called Caroline Hickey Dwyer, who sadly was taken from us at a very young age with breast cancer. Her family channeled their grief at this awful loss into the very positive development of setting up a research supporting charity which commemorates her name. This is an extraordinarily efficient, no overhead charity, and we have already had several generations of Caroline scholars and Caroline scientists working at DCU and in our affiliated labs. Again, thank you very much to President Professor McGrath and to the University.
Our final recipient today is Dr. Martin Brown, And Martin's citation reads as follows. A consistent theme that has appeared in Martin's research publications and initiatives over the last 13 years or so is that organisations often encounter barriers to improvement when working in isolation. In his own words, as far back as 2008, the question then becomes, how do we as practitioner researchers not only assist with improvements in individual schools, they're the organisations, but also collectively in entire communities? Taking up this challenge, and in parallel with his other research initiatives, Martin's most recent research project with Dr. Patrick Shevlin has enabled many school communities to carry out their own data-driven evaluations. As stated by the Department of Education Northern Ireland, this is the first time a self-evaluation study of this nature and scale has been conducted across Northern Ireland, and this has been led by a university-based team. In conclusion, what I have been most struck with are the comments made by those who nominated Martin for this award. One comment reads as follows: I suspect that what drives Martin is his primary interest in improving outcomes for learners. He doesn't know the children in my school, but I don't think he can even imagine the impact he has had on their lives and the standards they are now able to achieve. Another comment fitting of the global impact of these initiatives reads as follows. A true servant of school improvement, Martin has opened pathways across our province and has provided a blueprint for future engagement at all levels, local, regional, national and international. There's some comments. So many congratulations, Martin. Very well done indeed.
Hello everyone, and virtual greetings from Mullingar in County Westmeath in Ireland. This research initiative, referred to as Research Informed Practice to Enhance the Quality of Education Provision in Network School Communities, was derived from a number of research projects, where it was found that there was an overwhelming need to provide various stakeholders with the necessary skills required to carry out their own research-informed school and community-based evaluations, thus the establishment of what is referred to as the DCU EQI Shaped Professional Learning Network Initiative. The establishment of the network was based on a number of core objectives: to empower school communities throughout Northern Ireland to develop single school and community-based evaluations, to provide a cascaded model of professional learning to allow members of the network to support other communities outside of the network, and also to provide every school in Northern Ireland and in other jurisdictions with a compendium of research-informed case studies that could be used as an almanac for school improvement in Northern Ireland and elsewhere. In terms of the impact of the project, value for money-wise, the project resulted in a number of peer-reviewed articles and reports. The cost of the project was minuscule. In terms of the impact of the project on lives and society, being part of the network provided the various stakeholders with the necessary skills required to carry out their own research-informed school and community-based evaluations. And there was also, and indeed a priority of the network, that there should be a transfer, of which there was, support away from the researchers, allowing other members of the network to provide facilitated support to their communities. As regards the compendium of case studies, this is the first time, to the best of my knowledge, that case studies of this nature have been catalogued and shared in such a way, and in recognition of its value was distributed by the Department of Education Northern Ireland to a estimated 2,500 education providers, and indeed seminal reading is still available to download from the department website. And finally, and most significantly, it has been estimated that all of these various initiatives over the years have had a direct impact on at least 9,000 school children that we as educators are privileged to serve. So, in conclusion, what has been achieved by educators and other stakeholders who form part of these initiatives over the years, I believe is a timely reminder of the central importance of community and the power of education, and how a shaped professional learning network has the potential to dissolve some of the boundaries that exist in society, as well as providing a roadmap for the best conditions in which schools and other stakeholding groups can learn from each other in ultimately the best interest of their communities. Thank you very much and have a lovely summer.
And now, having read out all the citations and called out all the awardees, I now hand back to our MC, Professor Greg Hughes, Vice President for Research and Innovation. Gurmagav.
Just in conclusion, all it remains for me to do is once again congratulate all the awardees, and I'd like to thank everybody for attending this very special online event. I'd also like to take this opportunity to express our gratitude to the reviewers of the applications for their time and effort in assisting in the selection process. I'd also like to thank staff in the Research Support Office and the President's Office who worked hard to ensure that this event would run as smoothly as possible on this online format. And finally, I look forward to hosting a more traditional event next year, and I wish you all continued well-being through the current situation and renewed success in your research endeavours as the future unfolds. Thank you.